My name is Natalia, welcome to my channel, and today we will discuss how to create an interior that is easy to clean. If you are interested in this topic and you are maybe a little bit lazy, this video is for you. First of all, most surfaces in the house should be as even as possible and there should be minimum cracks. The surfaces should be almost monolithic. This not only applies to the working areas of kitchen worktops, sinks and so on, but also to the floor. This is the largest area in our house or apartment. As for the floor, if you choose, for example, a floorboard, it can be solid, engineered or parquet board. It is desirable to choose it without any chamfering. The same is true for laminates. There are some series of laminates that have kind of an artificial chamfer. By the way, parquet without chamfering with direct beveling is more expensive and there is a more complex process of drying such a parquet or engineered board. And as for laminates, beveled laminate is more expensive than laminate with a straight 90-degree edges. This is so because from manufacturing point of view, it is much easier to apply smooth laminate floorboards than to make an artificial chamfer. By the way, when you buy laminate flooring like this, you imitate not the most expensive and prestigious parquet. There is a little dissonance here. We also have absolutely no stitches on such flooring as linoleum. But from an ecological aspect, we could consider linoleum. Maybe one day I'll make a separate video about it. But so far, it's a controversial point, though in terms of cleaning it's definitely good. The so-called seamless tile is also a great choice for flooring. In fact, it is just a tile with a very sharp 90-degree cut edge. Not with these sloping angles, but flat and right angles. So it turns out to be a very small, almost invisible joints where a small amount of dirt is accumulated. Otherwise, if it's like this, a gentle seam, a gentle edge of the tile, there will be firstly more dirt collected and secondly, this seam will appear bigger. And of course, it's not looking nice. Nowadays, in interior fashion, everyone tries to avoid such seams and joints. These are considered technical joints and it is better to minimize their presence if it is not directly a matter of art. By the way, it's better to choose a grout for the floor tile darker than the general background of this tile or the darkest place on its surface. The thing is that if you choose a lighter tone, it will look bad at the first glance. It's better not to do that from an aesthetic point of view. You will understand why if you try to do so. It's a questionable point. There is of course a separate kind of art. It is possible to use grout to achieve some special effects, but it's always on the verge. Also, I advise choosing a slightly darker general tone for practical reasons as well. Because when you walk on the floor and you spill something on it, grout, especially if it's made of concrete instead of epoxy, it absorbs a lot of dirt and then you can get stains on this grout. It's not really pretty, so it's better to darken the grout than brighten it. The perfect color for the floor and other important surfaces is the medium gray tone. Have you ever collected dust in a pile? Well, you've seen this pile. It is medium gray, not light gray or dark gray, but somewhere in between. And most of the dirt in our houses has this medium gray color. If we, for example, choose a parquet board around the gray shades, we will create the illusion of tidiness in the house. This is especially important for those people who are very worried about cleanliness. They want it to be beautiful everywhere, and when they see the dust, they start running around with the mop like crazy. So to calm yourself down a little in such cases, it's better to make something like gray shades of flooring, so you will feel like there is not much dust and there is no need to clean up daily. But if you choose a black or very dark shade for the floor or white or very light shade, in both cases you will have to do the cleaning very often, because these colors create a very large contrast to the medium gray shade of dust and dirt. So anyway, if you want not to be annoyed by a lot of dust and you do not want to see it all the time, it is better to choose from a large number of gray, neutral, unsaturated colors. One more thing, in case you didn't know, but carpets collect a lot of dirt. So if you want to free your interior from additional dirt and remove all these dust collectors, then take all the carpets from your interior together and burn them ritually. In the fight for cleanliness, you have to cover walls with the wallpapers with a small ruffle pattern so you would not see any small drops of dirt or stains. Alternatively, if you still want to cover the walls with paint, there are special paints with addition of wax. Just Google paint for walls with wax added or glossy paint. These two types of paint are easier to clean and more resistant to dirt. The more glossy the paint is, the better you can clean it, even with a simple sponge. Although, if you have bought a matte paint and covered all the walls of your house with it, even the ceiling and even the skirting board or maybe something else, you should definitely buy a melamine sponge. It's a miracle which I already recommended to everyone on Instagram. And my subscribers write to me that they have scrubbed away the most unimaginable stains with this sponge. They thought they were going to repaint the wall, but they used a melamine sponge and scrubbed everything quickly. I used it in my apartment to remove a ballpoint pen from the matte wall. So this is a very useful purchase for those who have walls painted. I'd also like to talk about the cornice lighting. It's quite popular, it's even popular among many builders. It's a bit controversial, not all designers make it, and there are many reasons for that. If you look at them from the point of cleanliness, then imagine how this cornice lighting is collecting and keeping dust. You have to climb up every 6 months and wipe everything with a rag, so who does that? Write this in the comments if you do it once every 6 months. Or how many times? How do you take care of this cornice lighting? Have you ever climbed up there in your life? And secondly, I'm a little afraid to think about it, but any kind of insects or any other alien life form can inhabit this space of cornice lighting. Anyway, I would recommend that you refuse such a solution if possible. For cleaning, the best style is minimalism. However, for us it's more important here not aesthetic, but the philosophy of this style. We remove all unnecessary things, all the decor. Well, almost all hide all these statues, dust collectors, magnets under glass. And we have flat surfaces on which no dust is left, which do not collect dirt. In pursuit of a clean interior, we must declare a fight to all openings. This also applies to built-in furniture. We need to build in furniture such as kitchen furniture. We have to fit not only the right and left wall, but also to the ceiling. And if we can't make the upper kitchen cabinets to the ceiling, for example, we have chosen a manufacturer who doesn't have such kitchen, we have to bring the ceiling down to the kitchen cabinets and make there a minimal such a tiny slit that's called a technological clearance. So we don't allow things like cans, boxes, vases or other things to be stored on top of the cupboards that we put in there and forget about them. Because nobody digs in there, nobody ties up there. There are places that we practically do not visit, and so a lot of dirt accumulates there. Therefore, it's better to close such places at once at the stage of renovation with such plasterboard construction. This also refers to such huge silver ducts which can spoil the interior of practically any kitchen. This should be hidden from both aesthetic and practical points of view, as no one ever cleans them either. They almost always remain dusty, dirty, and of course they are not beautiful. In general, you should also think about it beforehand. The same is true for cabinets and shelves. They also have to be built not only into walls, but also from floor to ceiling, so that we minimize any gaps, leaving only technological clearances. This furniture needs to have something like a plinth on its bottom. So that's what they call a furniture plinth. It's like a skirting board that is solid. Furniture should not be placed on legs since dust always collects around the legs, and to protect against it you need a socle like this. That way it's easier for you to clean up. If you don't have such plinth, it's better that your furniture is mounted to the wall and hung like upper cupboards in the kitchen. For example, some console tables can be fixed to the wall or dressers can be placed above the floor. Then it would be effortless and simple for us to clean all this up with a rag. Same with the mounted toilets. We could also easily clean underneath them without having to bend the toilet stand shapes. Speaking of toilets, we have special rimless models. It's such a new fashion toilet model. A lot of companies have this model now. It also makes it very easy to clean not only outside under the toilet but also inside it. Furniture fronts have to be smooth without any filler panels. By the way, I already had 3 customers who claim to have experimented and found out that glossy white fronts are the most practical for cleaning. Maybe you can write a comment if you have a glossy white fronts and tell me how they are and they are really as good for you. When we were installing a glossy kitchen, I checked on my fingerprints. So I tapped on it, watched. Actually, it was barely possible to notice these marks on white. It's because white doesn't produce any contrast, and this white flickers of light, this reflection, it's almost invisible on white. But the opposite happens with black fronts. And if you touch them this way, of course you will see all these prints, all these stains. And they just create an effect with the white light becoming much more visible. Though maybe you will write to me about your opinion and your situation in the comments. Maybe it's different in your case, so I'd be happy to read it all. And one last point. To make it easier to clean your interior, let robots into your life. There are special robot vacuums, and in some projects we even plan for them in advance. We warn clients that if they don't want to do cleaning, let us plan a vacuum cleaner dog there and a socket for the robot in this place. We plan all this on purpose globally. For example, if you're a little bit lazy, then check it out. There are really awesome robotic vacuum cleaners, window washers robots, and other households robots that make our lives much easier. Sure, technologies are already moving in that direction. I think in the near future we will be making dark floors everywhere, lying down, relaxing, enjoying the beauty of our interior, and robots will do all the dirty work for us. So in general, gradually start letting robots in your life and plan sockets for them. And if you already have a robot vacuum cleaner or window washer or any other and you have any interesting experience, please write in the comments. I think we'd all love to read about how you communicate with this robot. I know some people even give their robot vacuum cleaners some funny names. What is the name of your vacuum cleaner robot? Well, that's it. Thank you a lot for watching it. Put your likes on, sign up for the channel and turn the bell on so you will be notified about new videos. Have a designful day!